excited to be part of this conversation today and hosting it for you guys. Before we kick off the conversation, I just wanted to introduce each of the inspiring women who will be joining us today. First up, we have Lara, the VP of Brand Partnerships at Complex. Lara, thanks for joining us.
Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. And our second panelist is the VP of Brand Marketing at Epic Records, Michelle Edgar.
Hi, everybody.
Hey. And last but not least, we have DJs, producers, and founders of Coco and Breezy Eyewear, Coco and Breezy, New York.
Hello.
Cool. Thanks, guys. So before we kick off the conversation, I just wanted to start off with an icebreaker for each of you. Starting with Lara, if you could choose a female role model from someone in your career realm, who would it be?
A female role model? I don't know. I think Michelle Obama, I would say. I just finished her book and it was fantastic. I have a child, so I could really relate to her working with kids. And obviously, she's one of the most amazing women. So I'll say that.
Definitely. And Michelle, what about you?
I have to say it probably would be my boss, Sylvia Rohn. I mean, she's a total badass, and I feel so lucky to work for a woman who really walks the walk. And she's the first of, many, and has really set an example for a lot of powerful women in the music business.
Definitely. Coco and Breezy?
Our role model is Sharifa Murdoch, and she is part of the trade show world and a very powerful woman in the men's fashion space, and she's been our mentor. So she has helped us grow as women our whole lives since we've gotten to New York.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. So another question for everyone, kind of a lightning round. You all have such diverse backgrounds and journeys. What's your favorite brand collaboration? Could be music, art, fashion, and what elements appeal to you when collaborating with brands? Lara.
Okay. Yeah, I think, my most recent collaboration that I was a part of is one of my favorites, and it was the Lakers Takashi Murakami Complex Con merchandise that we dropped last year at Complex Con. For one, the Lakers is obviously hometown and such a premium sports team, and to be able to collaborate and do merchandise and drop it in LA proper, it was an amazing experience. Yeah.
Definitely. I know I really wanted to get my hands on a pair, but
hit me up after.
So what about you?
It's hard because every artist and every partnership is so different, but I was really proud last year to partner my K-pop group Monsta X with Chanel. We did a big holiday performance, and Chanel does 2 a year. The other one was during the Hamptons with Billie Eilish. And so the fact that they really saw something in K-pop, it's such a huge business that I'm really excited to see where Monsta X goes here in the States, because it's really uncharted territory, and it's an amazing audience space. So I'm glad that Chanel valued K-pop, and they just done a show in Korea. And then in general, I just throw out Virgil Abloh. Anything he does is just incredible and inspiring, whether it's tied to Avion or furniture. I think he's just such a cultural savant.
Definitely. Coco and Breezy?
One of our favorite collaborations is the eyewear we did for Prince, the third eye glasses. And a few days ago was his 4-year anniversary of his death. And I think that we grew up in Minnesota, and so it was very legendary and iconic that we were able to make the legendary third eye glass frames for him. Also, since we are DJs and producers and we have an eyewear company, we love collaborating with musicians because it just ties our worlds together for the culture.
Awesome.
So exciting.
Yeah. So Lara, in this digital age, it feels like partnerships are needed more than ever. How are you thinking about partnerships in the current climate?
I mean, you're right. They are so important right now, partnerships. And honestly, it's a very challenging time for partnerships. I mean, a lot of our partners are hurting right now for business. And most of the endemic partners that Complex works with, whether it's retail, style, sports, sneakers even, they're hurting. And I think, there's obviously no shopping going on right now. There's no sports. and also a lot of product and inventory constraints, because of so much overseas. So I think, that has a ripple effect on brand partnerships. When you think about marketing efforts for products, they've been paused, they've been shifted, even canceled in some cases. And I think that really impacts our industry. It impacts advertising, influencer marketing, it impacts branded content with partners, all of the things. And I think it's so important for brand partners right now to come together and collaborate. I mean, for one, the influence and the scale that happens when you put, two partners together, but also consumers are really looking to be, they're looking for aid. They're looking to be educated, and they're also looking to be entertained right now. And honestly, I feel so proud to be at Complex. I'll give you a few reasons, but one of them, our CEO, Rich Antonello, he came out right after the quarantine and told 300 of Complex employees that everyone's job was safe. He made it public in a Digiday article. And basically, if you're a video producer at Complex and you can't go in and produce content in the studio right now, you might be helping out with HR. Your roles are reallocated in the company. And I thought that was so admirable. Mm-hmm. Another thing is that we were really quick to mobilize with charities that aided in COVID, whether that was, restaurant workers, community fund, Last Prisoner Project. We also did a GoFundMe with small businesses and entrepreneurs. And a lot of our brand partners have helped and mobilized with us over those things. And so I'm just really proud to be at a company, that stands for something. And lastly, I think, look, we had been planning for this worst case scenario since February. And luckily we had some really great banked content. Like, I don't know if anyone saw Sneaker Shopping with Lil Wayne or Hot Ones with Justin Timberlake, but also we were really quick to reformat our shows. And I want to say less than 2 weeks after we went into quarantine, we released an episode of Full Size Run, which is our weekly sneaker debate show. All the hosts videoed in, and we actually interviewed Dom, the shoe surgeon, and it was an amazing episode. And right now, since we can't go, Joe LaPuma can't be sneaker shopping in real life with celebrities, we have a new show called House Shoes. And it basically, we're giving celebrities the video and they're showing us what they're rocking, slippers, Crocs, trainers, whatever. We're editing it, making it shoppable and putting it out to market. So, I have a dozen other examples of how we've reformatted. Our podcasts are up, and I just think it's really great to see a brand, mobilize and come together and really stick by the people that work for them, So I'm proud to be here. And I think, as brand partners, they look to us and use our content to help, drive their messaging, show off their product. They help build some of that content with us or fund it. So it's really, it's more important than ever that we keep that going for the consumer and for the partnership.
Yeah.
So sorry, that was winded.
No, it's great. I mean, we had a great time working with you guys on Full Size Rap, and I know that all the content you're putting out there is amazing, and everyone's engaged. So it's good to be engaged on it.
Thank you.
Recently, I read an article that stated collaborating with a cool streetwear brand can make an uncool brand cool just by the power of association. In your opinions, is the power of association enough, or what makes a brand collaboration successful?
That's a good question. I think brand association, it happens. I'm not going to lie. We at Complex have helped some brands that were relatively uncool have some great messaging market. And I think, the one thing is that the consumer is smart. They're going to suss out if, a brand is having messaging that doesn't feel authentic or that just doesn't really fit with the theme of a show or the content we're creating. So, that's what we do all day long, is really sit with our brand partners and craft the right messaging that you're going to see, next to our shows, or really help strategize with them on their go-to-market, ideas. And ultimately, I think, it's definitely important that a brand stands for something that matters to the consumer more than just standing next to somebody. So I'd say it's important, but you got to have more than that.
I agree. Michelle, what do you think about that?
I think it's essential when you're working with talent that there's real authenticity, building off of what Lara said. The artist has to be passionate about the brand. I think the more it's ingrained in what they're trying to, market and build and get their music out there, the more impactful it is. So, whether it's Travis Scott, I mean, we're really excited with the entire Fortnite. That was the big news on our end. But I think, I'd like to highlight Meghan Trainor, who wanted to stand for something during these times, and charity requests are coming in daily. And live streams coming in daily for our, and I think it's become a little bit oversaturated, but needed. And I love the approach that Meghan did with Feeding America, where she decided to do an at-home tour in multiple, rooms in her house. And so that was really exciting to see the partners that really wanted to be in business with her and donate to a good cause. We had PacSun to Elf Cosmetics to Rael, and we raised a lot of money in, just 2 weeks, and it's extended now till May 5th. So super excited to build off of that. And it's a nice entry to build something greater.
Awesome. Definitely. Coco and Breezy, how about you guys?
I think it is so important that when two brands are collaborating, or when a brand is collaborating with an influencer, that it does reach the messaging that kind of touches upon both people and brands. Because like we were saying earlier, the consumer, they can sniff out when something is not authentic. And I think now, since we've been in quarantine, the way that social media has shifted is that it's become even more authentic and organic. Like, you're seeing these celebrities' houses, you're seeing them on IG Live, which is kind of like FaceTime, right? So now, if you're working with influencers or even two brand partners, like with our company, we've done collaborations with companies that you wouldn't have even thought of. We did a collaboration with Jolly Ranchers and Twizzler, and we made this beautiful, chic eyewear collection, but you wouldn't have thought that we would collaborate with them. So one thing that we love about our company is that we love partnering with those companies that are extremely traditional, but we find one messaging, a piece of messaging that matches both of us, so it is authentic. We're even launching a new collaboration in the fall, and we're super excited because it ties back into our childhood. But it's with a company that you would never even guess,
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I think I agree. I think finding the right alignment and having a true story and making it authentic is really key, especially in how we approach our collaborations at the Shoe Circuit as well. It's such a trend to be part of this space, but if the alignment and authenticity isn't there, then it's not worth in the community.
Exactly.
Definitely. So partnerships also allow for people and brands to engage in social responsibility in really impactful ways by working together. Michelle, can you speak about your interest in philanthropy and how you've been able to bring that to life with Music Unites and the XX Project?
Yeah, I think my passion for philanthropy comes from my training as a concert pianist, actually. So that's where I was bit with the music bug. But Music Unites started 15 years ago, where I wanted to provide students with, amazing music educational experiences and bring the best in class industry leaders to come talk to them through our Music Versity program. And very excited to announce that we're kicking off this entire Zoom Music Versity series with the Compton Unified School District for the next 2 months. So anybody who wants to be part, we're looking to bring kids an experience over lunch, 1 hour, bringing industry's best leaders to talk to them about the entire experience that they're going through with Corona. And actually very excited that Apple's agency, Media Arts Lab, is going to create a special COVID video capturing their experience, and they're going to create it in tandem. So those types of hands-on workshops. And I love giving back, making a difference. I think this is crucial to what we are all about and where the universe is headed in our communities. So excited to build, and if anyone has ideas with that. And XX is also, I'm all about power women. Lara is my power woman behind the scenes with my XX project. But we curate weekly discussions virtually on how to be the best leader, how to get smart with all the tools and resources, because knowledge is power. And I feel right now, all of us are looking to be the best we can and take this time to, consume knowledge and growth, and really sharing, like we are today with this amazing conference, our knowledge to really build in a way that, you know, innovation is key, and this is times to get smarter, get more creative, and that's why it's exciting that you guys put this together. So look forward to having everybody who's here come check out. Our next event is on entertainment branding on Monday, but you can reach me, and I look forward to welcoming you to both communities.
Perfect. Thank you. Coco and Breezy, so music and fashion go hand in hand. The late iconic Prince was one of your patrons, and for whom you created the infamous third eye sunglasses. Can you speak on that experience, what it was like working with him, collabing with him, and then also more specifically just how you've incorporated music into your work, especially as DJs?
Yeah, working with Prince is very legendary. It was actually kind of crazy because I'm going to make this long story quite short. It started off with a Facebook message of someone from his team saying, hey, Prince wants to meet you guys. Fast forward, he found out that we used to be dancers back in the day, so he asked us to perform with him at Essence Festival. And then fast forward again, he was like, can you guys come hang out with me in Paisley Park? And we're like, okay, cool. And so we were sitting down. He said, can you guys make some glasses for me to cover my third eye? Fast forward to there, we ended up designing the frame, and they literally got to us. The samples got to us during, I think it was the same day that he had his Saturday Night Live performance. And he could not guarantee that he was going to wear them, but he ended up wearing them on his first TV performance in over like 5 or 10 years. And so we were like, okay, how do we give his fans a unique experience? Well, he said, can you guys make frames for my fans? And originally we were going to do an official collaboration. Prince said, I don't want any piece of it, because he saw a young talent and he saw something in us. So he goes, I want you guys to sell the glasses. I don't want a piece. Just buy a house and save me a room. We ended up launching a limited edition of 200 frames. And it was crazy because we launched them actually about 2 days before he passed away. Wow. So he tweeted the link to our website a couple of days before he passed away. We stopped all of our marketing efforts because we don't believe in marketing and selling a product based on someone's death. And his one tweet sold everything out in 24 hours. And that experience was just very special, but then that also taught us something. It was more so showing like he was very powerful. And also it showed to have, as a brand, you have to have integrity. And I think a lot of brands, it's important because, again, the customer behavior, they know when a brand doesn't have integrity. That's why it was important for us to stop all of our marketing efforts and just cut our marketing plan because, again, we didn't believe in selling a product based off of capitalizing off of someone's death. And we just literally let his one tweet sell the glasses. And the way that we tie in our music and fashion is really cool and interesting because even through our design process, we're always listening to music and we're always collaborating with musicians. And it's almost like our brand is creating a lifestyle. And so our brand, we give people like the 5 senses. We give them the ears, the listening, and then we also give them like the eyes. And it's been fun to just give the customer like a feeling and emotional connection, create that brand equity through music and fashion.
So you could say artists rely on brand deals and partnerships in their career journeys. Where do you begin when you're developing a strategy to lock in a deal or a brand partnership for an artist and music partnership?
Mm-hmm. I like to speak to my artists, and the more interaction and understanding of what they're looking to create, then I can craft the right strategy and plan. So, I think the common ground is, a lot of artists are open to this, especially right now. It's more necessary than ever. But understanding what, categories they're open to, what their personal affinity, what their hobbies, what their passions are. A lot of them are consumed with their music, but like with Travis, with 21 Savage, if they love, gaming and esports, really getting into those intricacies, because then you can build, amazing things. Some of them want to carry their own brand. And so understanding if it's a cannabis, passion or whatever it might be, sneakers, really understanding what they're using on a daily basis and understanding, the marketing strategies of the brands and where they are. Some might be more mature in their, entertainment sort of collaborations. Others might be looking to do it as a test. So bet on an emerging artist and really do something more 360 where it could really help launch an artist and put it on, put their music in a commercial spot, which really can change the landscape and put them out there. So it's exciting to see where we are nowadays, because I go back to what Lara's doing with storytelling, and that's so important because that adds another layer and to understanding who the artist is and showing a little behind the scenes of what they're passionate about, because then you show the artist well-rounded and those verticals that, really can latch on to the right brand partners and build together simultaneously.
Definitely. Are there any partnerships that are your favorite that you've worked with an artist and a brand, or any that really?
It's hard. I mean, I feel so grateful because I call on so many different categories of brands, whether it's automotive, fashion, beauty, to cannabis and liquor. I mean, you name it, to tech, to electronic, and I definitely want to do some Twizzler and Jolly Rancher. That was my thing growing up. But I used to be an editor at Women's Wear Daily. That's how I started my career. I was a beauty editor. Secret. And I think beauty and fashion has always been a real passion of mine. So, I think it was interesting. I remember when ASAP did that Christian Dior deal and really put things at in the forefront of that culture, those cultures combining. So I think that's something that I just know because I used to cover Fashion Week, but I really feel fortunate that I get to touch on all categories and all brands and really just be the smartest and innovative. And Lara and I are looking to do some interesting projects together, reimagining how to create a virtual ultimate listening party. So we're diving in and have some interesting ideas around some key projects of ours, coming from Future to 21 Savage to Black Eyed Peas coming back. So would love to, get creative right now. Now's the time. And I think it's exciting to see how these deals will be structured moving into the future.
Definitely. And that leads into my next question for Lara. We all know about ComplexCon and its success of bringing people together to celebrate the culture, with brands and artists and everyone coming together for one moment. It's personally one of my favorite events of the year. How are you looking at experiential marketing in this current climate and moving forward?
Oof, that's $1 million question for sure. But I'll start with ComplexCon, as we just had a virtual summit yesterday for our brand partners to talk about what our plans are. And, what we announced to them is that, ComplexCon in 2020 will go on. It's in November. This will be our 6th ComplexCon, but our 5th in Long Beach. And the thing is that right now we're planning for all scenarios. And if we cannot do it live in Long Beach, we're going to be doing it virtually. And I think, there's a lot of strategy that's going into this. And honestly, we're at the mercy of, government and city officials. But, what's true is that if things do start getting better in the world and by November, we are able to, I think that this is a real moment that we want for the fans, for the brand, for the community to come together as one and really celebrate culture. And, if we can't, and we'll know pretty soon, I think, we have everything in place to do a virtual ComplexCon. And I think, everybody here probably knows that, ComplexCon is built on hype and drop moments. And so those things live virtually right now. I think about Travis Scott's dunk last week. It was all over my feed. And, Complex, we have our own shop. We partner with a bunch of brands to release products. We launched it a month after ComplexCon last year, and it did fantastic. And so I think there's a lot of interesting and unique programming that we can do through that vertical. But even thinking about, how music could live virtually, obviously we're all doing that as well on Instagram and YouTube and Twitch these past few weeks. Even getting as collaborative as like working with the Postmates to do really cool drop deliveries. So we're thinking about everything. And what is for sure is that ComplexCon will be different this year. I mean, it has to be. The world has changed. And I think, it will be innovative. Complex has been around for 18 years. We've been talking to this audience and growing this relationship, and we continue to evolve as a brand. And I think that's what's always most exciting to me about ComplexCon, is seeing the innovation and the future in real life. And I think, regardless of virtual or IRL, ComplexCon is going to be the future of retail and e-commerce for this community, period. And then just to take a step and answer your question about experiential in general, I think, we're looking at all things virtual right now. We're doing virtual, listening events like Michelle mentioned, virtual screenings, virtual watch parties. And that's the way we have to be. Our audience is still coming together. They're still talking to each other on social. And, I think that we'll continue that for now. And let's hope for the best with ComplexCon and all the events that are still TBD at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm. Right. I think coming out of this too, everyone's going to be ready for experiences more than ever. So hopefully that it can happen in real life. And if it's online, I'm sure it's going to be an amazing event and just a good moment for everyone to come together and engage and have a great experience.
Agreed.
Yes.
Coco and Breezy. Back in 2012, Adidas enlisted you both as part of their Originals White Space project, allowing you to customize blank trefoils. Can you talk about how you've been able to inject your personal style into collaborations and brand partnerships? And what was it like to work on that campaign specifically?
Yeah, so we do, besides us being founders of Coco and Breezy Eyewear, we also are kind of, since we are in like the artist space, we do a lot of brand partnerships. Mm-hmm. But before we do a brand partnership, we always make sure that it's part of our long-term ethos. And so it was actually very special when we did that collaboration and partnership with Adidas, because when we first started the eyewear company, we actually started off with customizing, doing DIY glasses, where we were buying safety goggles and gluing studs and spikes on glasses. So that kind of tied into this partnership we did with Adidas when we had this full customization activation. As we move forward now and thinking about future partnerships and current partnerships as a company and as women in the, I don't like to use the word influencer space, but everyone's an influencer nowadays, but in the entertainment space. Now it's really about what story can we tell together and how can we use each other's platforms. It's even interesting now that I've even noticed where you may even do, it's not even about only brand partnerships, but sometimes with Instagram Live and all these other live platforms, you can go on live together and have beautiful conversations, and now you're able to tap into someone else's audience. So that's even important. But I think for us, when we're choosing to figure out who we actually want to partner with, and again, outside of our eyewear brand, we're also tapping into seeing how can we storytell and how can we make it true to, like Coco said, our brand mission and what we truly believe in as a company, and how can we tell our story in different ways, and partnering with different companies from like Adidas to even like a high-end brand like Coach to a transition lenses. We go anywhere from traditional to the culture. But I think the beautiful thing about where brands are having it now and where customers, they want to see the opposites attract, because everyone loves so many different things. And so it's fun to partner up with the unexpected. And we're living in a world right now where we're living in the unexpected currently.
Definitely. Yeah, no, that was great. Thank you for saying on that. And I think I'd like to just, as a final question before we go into the Q&A, just hear if there's any projects. I know you guys each touched on it, any projects coming up that you want to talk about, share a little bit more about that you're working on for us.
Projects coming up that I'm excited about. I mean, I just talked about ComplexCon, so I honestly think doing it virtually would be fantastic. It would be such a global movement for us, so I'm extremely excited about that. Even just right now, just reformatting our shows and putting some new things out in market. We have a show that we just started called Show and Tell, and celebrities are telling us what they're watching right now, what social platforms they're using, and it's funny and it's fun. So, there's a handful of other shows that we have coming out too. I'm just, I'm excited to see what happens, period. I know it's a really challenging time, but you have to stay positive right now. And you have to look forward and continue planning, because as soon as things do start back on, it's going to be a wild ride. We are all going to be going 150 miles an hour. And so all we can do right now is plan and prep and be positive and take that time to just be proud that we all have jobs right now and that we can support each other. And, that's all I can say.
Michelle, what about you?
As I mentioned, we have some great releases. People are really consuming music. So, Future's coming, 21 Savage, Black Eyed Peas, Madison Beer, bunch of amazing emerging artists from Giveon. I mean, there's so many great ones coming. We're looking at how we can really capitalize on some of these cultural moments, whether it's Pride, whether it's a virtual graduation. We once did Epic Fest. What does that look like to bring Epic Fest virtually? So looking to get creative and really understanding this live stream space. And as Lara said, inventing what it means to have a virtual listening party and more custom experiences. I think, we all know that, the live touring space is on hold for a minute. So I think now's a real exciting time to see how we can get more creative in how partnerships and these collaborations are done, and test things and see what works and what doesn't. So if anyone has any ideas or interested in our Epic, Records artists roster and to brainstorm, I'm here. So I'm excited to put that out there and find creative people to build with. I think this is a time that, Lara and I do a lot of building together, but to really take time and reach out to people to find interesting collaborators outside your traditional scope. I think that's important to really morph with technology as well.
Mm-hmm. Are you seeing an increase in people listening in when they're virtual or when they're online versus the in-person shows? Like, how has that affected your audience and your reach?
I mean, I think it's exciting because it's direct contact with your fans, and allowing them to really engage in real time. And, Madison Beer just released her, new single just a few weeks ago on TikTok for the first time. So, being able to see how artists utilize their different social platforms and which ones work for which artists, and the feedback. I mean, the TikTok phenom is like, TikTok is, part of our every day. It's such an important platform. So really seeing the, direct response and how quickly, the translation of a hit. We just released Mamacita for Black Eyed Peas and have another, great song coming. And, it's an interesting time because people they have more time on their hands, I think, and, willing to do that TikTok challenge. So TikTok has been an interesting platform to really break artists and see like some international songs and hits that have really, jump started and created the momentum here in the States. So
cool. And Coco and Breezy, what about you? Do you have any exciting collaborations coming up?
Yeah, so I can't say the brand name, but we're collaborating with another eyewear company, and it's so cool. I never thought that we would have a Zoom call today thinking about a plan B on how we're going to shoot the campaign. And now we're in talks of figuring out really cool ideas on how we can virtually shoot a campaign and how we're virtually going to shoot a commercial for it. And so I think that it puts us in a very cool creative space. When we first started our company, when we had nothing, and those were the times where we actually were the most creative. And so now with planning out a whole campaign virtually, it kind of puts us in the space of the beginning stages. And so I think it's fun. It's a good time right now for everyone just to think outside the box and really utilize your resources and understand not to be too hard on yourself, because we're all going through this as well. And so we're just pumped. We have other collaborations that we're working on musically as well. We're launching, we're putting out our single that we produce. And so we're also thinking about how we can make a plan B on how we're going to do that virtually. Also, it's just a fun time to be creative. Everyone's thinking of a plan A, B, C to Z now, and it's cool.
And that'll lead us into our first Q&A question from the audience. Michelle, we'll start with you. So do you have any advice for women looking to break into brand partnerships right now?
I think now is an exciting time because innovation is key, and you're here tuning into this, and if you were smart and aggressive, you'd follow up with each of us and pick our brain for 10 minutes afterwards. I think you can't be bashful to ask, but also do your research and be strategic. Identify which side of the business speaks to you the most, whether it's on the brand side, whether it's on the media entertainment content side, whether it's on the artist or record label side. But I mean, just doing your research and understanding how you can add value. I think right now content and the digital and the live stream is so essential. You're going to see so many of these companies, whether it's LiveX Live, who's really leading the charge. You saw what Global Citizen did this past weekend. There's going to be other ones that are popping, even the different platforms like what you guys are hosting us on, that, the technology, I think this is the new way. So even to become a master in some of this, innovation, which I think is cutting edge, and being smart about how to create new ways of doing partnerships. There's a great company called Community that's text direct that artists utilize. But I think, do your research, take the time with industry leaders, and really be strategic with what you're asking for, your follow-up, and how you can add value, and align with your passions and identify your strengths.
And Coco and Breezy, what obstacles have you faced being women in your industry, and how did you overcome them?
Being women in our industry, if we're talking about the eyewear industry, one, we're women and we are women of color. So when we're going to these trade shows and we're around other founders or other people that are in the eyewear space, it has been challenging because people will look at us and be like, you guys must be models for an eyewear brand. And we're like, no, we're founders. But the good part is that we've been able to create a new narrative, and it's our duty in our space to show representation and to also be able to tell a story from the people. So I think that something that's very important, which is a little bit off topic, but just for people to hear, is that being women in our space, it's so important for companies when you're creating these marketing campaigns. And if you're creating a campaign for Black History Month, or if you're creating a campaign for Pride, or for women, who's on the production team? Are you having a production team that's filled up with men that's telling a story about women? I think now, especially with everything becoming so transparent, it's really important to be sure that the people that are behind the scenes are leading the conversation for the people that you're putting in front of the camera.
Exactly.
And that's something that we've been thinking about a lot. So even as a company and as talent, when we're partnering with people that want to, highlight our company or us for being women, we're like, well, what does the production team look like? Is it 50 or 60? Is it 60% women? For Black History Month, Hulu shot a series on us. What's the percentage of people of color on this production team? Because if you guys are doing something for Black History Month, but you're not hiring the people to tell the story, what are we really doing right now? We're not shifting anything, but capitalizing off certain topics. We need to help these communities.
Right. And Lara, what obstacles have you faced being a woman in the industry and in the space?
I mean, I think just, being recognized sometimes, and I wouldn't say that was at Complex, but it takes a lot longer as women to kind of go up the chains and to be recognized for the hard work that we put in. So I think, that's something that has always been a challenge. I feel like I'm always working very, very hard, and sometimes harder than other people to be at that same level. And that's okay, but I think as women, we just have to continue to fight for what we believe, and we have to speak up in meetings, and we have to show our voice, because right now our voice does really matter. And you're seeing that. It's like there are a lot of women in management roles now. And when I started my career, for sure, I was at Herb Magazine and MTV before this. But when I started at Complex 9 years ago, there was 2, maybe 3 upper management women. Now there's at least a dozen, probably more. And so I think that, that's a lot of brands. And that's what really excited me about being part of this creative quarantine, was being able to meet and hear from other women in management roles like myself, the challenges, the inspirations around it. I think there's nothing but good that can come from us mobilizing and working together to build. And we are going to inspire another wave of women to do what we're doing. And it's so exciting. So I think, you know, for the women out there that are, you know, just starting in their careers or even, you know, interning in college, it's just continue to focus on what you want. It should be what you're most passionate about, that will drive you. And I think, you know, just keep focused and stay positive. And you know, again, meeting the right mentors is really important too. But you know, that's why I love being a part of this and meeting you guys, and even, you know, hearing from Sarah Novak at Adidas yesterday, or Beth Gibbs tomorrow. Like, these are women that are behind the scenes running the shit at these companies, you know? And so I love it. And I thank you guys all for like letting me be a part of this.
Absolutely. I think it's great, you know, getting together and getting to hear everyone's take, because we have founders, we have VPs, we have people all over the space in such high roles, and these females are really driving these partnerships and these strategies, and it's amazing to just hear your stories and relate with you guys. Michelle, how about you? What challenges have you faced?
I mean, I've always been super on it and aggressive. If I know I want something, I do whatever it takes to go out and get it done. But I've been always respectful to learn from amazing leaders out there. And I think, you know, you just have to set yourself apart from everything else. And, you know, it's day in and day out. As Lara said, you have to be super passionate and want it, and not be afraid to, you know, I totally transferred industries. I was an editor at Women's Wear OK Magazine, and I cross over at Warner Brothers in strategic partnerships. And then I've worked at management, I've been an agent, and now I'm back, you know, in the label system. So, you know, being able to rebrand, reposition yourself, really know the landscape and what excites you the most about the business and where your strengths lie. I think it's important to be honest and not to be timid to reach out to the people you really respect. And you know, I knew my boss Sylvia back when I was a beauty editor at Women's Wear Daily. So I mean, you know, good things come to those who wait, but also who work really hard. I never looked at it that I was a woman, but I always really respected women personally, professionally, who are just forces of nature. You know, Sylvia, you know, Jody Gershon, these power women. Bozoma St. John is a dear friend. Like, these are women who really walk the walk, but I think it's important to bring your tribe up with you. So the people here in this room who I'm, you know, honored to be on this panel with, like, it's not just those, but like your peers that you could really learn and really move mountains with. So I think it's important to look at it both twofold.
And Laura, this question's for you. What was one of the learning lessons from building the content side of the media business?
Oh, just one? I think that you have to constantly be evolving. I think that, you know, if you guys remember, like back in the old magazine days, it was all advertorials and things. And look at how much has changed since then. I mean, branded content is really smart and it feels organic. And it's thought out with a lot of strategy. It's not just, you know, taking some brand's money and putting the copy that they already put together into a magazine. I think it's smart. And so that's one thing at Complex. We're constantly evolving and poking holes in things that we're doing right now to say, how can we do it better? And I think it's okay to say no too. There are so many brands and people that want to connect with Complex and be a part of what we're doing. And if it doesn't feel right, or if it's not reaching the same goals that we are, it took me a long time to learn that, to be able to say, like, this doesn't work or this won't work. I tried to like mold every brand into what they wanted. And it's not authentic. And, you know, it's harder than ever now with social and comments on content to like hide behind that. So I think it's really smart. You have to say no when it doesn't feel right, and you have to constantly be evolving.
You guys say the best way for agencies to get attention from potential partners or collaborations? You can start on this.
It depends. If you have a direct in, whoever you can get information from and listen and learn what has worked, what hasn't, what their priorities, their objectives and goals are in the coming year. So I think, that's one way. If you don't have a direct into the brand, I would try LinkedIn. Believe it or not, people are responding left and right now. So I would really push you to, go after it and find a few people, however your best entry or introduction. But there's so much happening. See and study what's happening in Google. Google what the different partners are doing, and is it their first stab in entertainment or music or in fashion, and see how you could add value and not just be like, let's set up a meeting, but what really sets you apart in your services. I threw out like 6 different ideas right here. So I would take an opportunity, and even Lara and I right here right now, we could come up with some creative ideas that come from this discussion. So take those little nuggets and feel free to reach out to people that you might not have all those services or all the solutions, but bring other creatives to brainstorm and see how you can win that business. But now is an interesting time because people have more time than or everyone's looking to reinvent or do things a little differently. So it's a good time to, get in front of the key decision makers.
Definitely. And then Coco and Breezy, what partnership allowed you to tap into another platform or audience that you wanted to explore?
Our partnership we did with Transition Lenses. Transition Lenses they're a very traditional lens company that when your lenses are indoor, they're clear. And when you go outside, they adapt to the sun. But the issue they had was all the millennials and even young adults, they always thought about transitions, and they thought about their parent wearing transition lenses or their grandma or grandpa. And so we actually did a partnership with them about 3 years ago, and it's been ongoing every year, where it first started off with us
modeling in
the campaign, pairing our cool eyewear with their lenses. And then we actually pitched that idea to them because they had no social media. We were first in the campaign, then we pitched a 1-year marketing partnership. So do not be afraid to pitch something because they had no social media presence, and they also hadn't partnered up with another company or talent. So we pitched a full 1-year marketing partnership that pretty much had us doing social posts once a month that showed people who have a voice, product, which is eyewear that is actually stylish, paired with their lens technology. And so fast forward about 3 years later, they actually said our partnership helped them receive a new audience. But what their partnership helped us with was get a stamp of approval in the traditional medical eyewear space. And we've been able to include our music portion in there as well. So it was really cool to do that partnership with them. And as we continue to grow, there's always new efforts that we've been bringing in with the Transitions and Coco and Breezy partnership.
And I think that since we work on the brand side and the talent side, and so a lot of times when we are partnering with people, we partner with them on the eyewear side of things, but then they also booked us to DJ. And so we're also giving the client the best of like multiple worlds in one world.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Laura, what about you? What brand collaborations have allowed you to explore new audiences and connect in unfamiliar other territories?
I mean, I think, working with so many entertainment brands in Los Angeles is, a major market for us. So I love tapping into their resources when it comes to talent and, movie stars and creating unique collaborations. And, there's been a handful of different ones throughout the years. We've done limited edition sneakers. We've done shirts. We actually, I think it was maybe a couple years ago now, we did a collaboration with Nipsey Hussle for Lionsgate's Robin Hood. And we sold product that he had designed at ComplexCon, and all of the money went to charity. And so, there's too many to even name. But I think that's the coolest part about my job is that people come to Complex because Complex is always been rooted in putting two things together that you wouldn't really expect. I don't know if you remember the old magazines, but I mean, one of the first magazines I remember was like, Andre 3000 and Will Ferrell. And at the time you didn't know they were putting a movie out, but like just always putting two people. And even we did Jerry Lorenzo and John Mayer on the cover last year. And I think that's always been really rooted in Complex's culture is collaborating and doing something new and unique that, you know, is disruptive.
And Laura, I guess a lot of people in the chat are wanting to know, where's your jacket from?
What? This is Adidas. That's funny. Wait, do you guys like this too? Ladies is pimps too.
Love it.
That's better. Thanks, guys.
So this is our last question from everyone or from the chat. Michelle, we'll start with you on this one. If we're able to have an in-person event later in 2020, are you concerned about event fatigue or congestion as everyone tries to get their events in?
I mean, I don't know what events are going to be happening. And Coachella's slated, but who knows about that one? I think people are going to be hungry to connect. I think we all miss that. You know, the virtual world is great, but you know, there's nothing like that, you know, connection. But I think there's going to be a lot of hesitation, and I think things are going to be changing. So event fatigue might happen, but I think people know what they like. I think they're going to be interested in experimenting, but I think there's going to be hesitation on the larger scale events. So, you know I would be hesitant in going to some larger festivals at the end of this year, because I think we're in this for several cycles and it's unknown. And, you know, I think we have to reimagine what this new event experience could look like. I know I'm interested in more intimate, more, you know, community, invite only type, curated type experiences. So I'm not sure. It's going to be interesting to see where we go from here. But I think all of us are going a little stir crazy. This is week 6 of the quarantine. And you know, it'll be interesting to see where we go from here.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Coco and Breezy, what do you think about that?
I mean, we always think about this now, like even on the DJ side, we're like, when are we going to perform live again? So I do think Michelle, you're right. In my head, I was thinking it's going to go more intimate. And right now we feel like we're in these intimate settings watching things live, but we do want that human touch. So like the big events, I'm not quite sure, but I know for sure, like, more intimate settings are going to happen, and that's what I'm stoked about. I just can't wait to perform in front of people.
And what I actually see happening, I see a vision that the larger events that we expect, like thousands of people, there'll be tickets for virtual events, and there'll be a cap of people that can go in person. And so maybe there'll be a cap of only 100 people, VIP. Maybe that's the new VIP, and the rest of the tickets will be all virtual. But the virtual thing won't be so foreign by then. It'll be natural to say, hey, I missed out on the VIP in person. I'm just going to watch it on my TV, on Twitch, or on like a streaming site. So it'll become second nature. Is it second nature or first nature?
I don't know.
You got it. Laura, what about you?
I mean, in terms of event fatigue, if all of a sudden there's people going back into the market and there's Coachella and Flogna and Day in Vegas and ComplexCon, I think I can really only speak, I'm ready to go out. So like, I think that people won't really be fatigued, but I think in terms of like ComplexCon, we're in a really unique position. Like, we're not up against festivals. This is not really what we're doing. There's music element, of course, but it's really about celebrating culture. It's like a World's Fair. I mean, you go to try new things, to taste new things, to meet new people. It feels very different than what you do when you go to a music festival. So I feel lucky that even if things turn up and all of those things end up happening in the Los Angeles area, we're still gonna have the same amount of people. And you know, the one thing is just, you know, we have to be smarter about it. And you know, there's all kinds of things to think about in terms of like, do you have to have your temperature taken before you walk into a venue now? I don't know, right? But for sure, for me, like, I'm ready to go out. Get me out.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. It's been great chatting with you, learning more about what you guys are up to. And I'm super excited to connect with you all separately after this as well and just keep the conversations going.
What's up? It's Boy A from TheFutureParty here in space, chilling. Hope you enjoyed the video. I enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for more notifications. We've got some amazing things coming up. Check out the description on who The Future Party is. It's gonna be great.